What's up guys, and welcome back again. Today we're doing a figure because it's kind of like the most important part if you're gonna draw people. You'll notice I make a little curved line for the shoulders and another one going the opposite way for the hips. This helps the pose look more fluid. You'll notice that I don't actually do this when I do a lot of my art. This is because this is a technique that I used when I first started learning how to do figure. And I know that most of the people who are watching tutorials are probably beginners, and well, I personally don't need to do this anymore because I've gotten good enough at what I do over several years that I can now, just do my shit without it. But it helped me a lot when I was first starting out, which is why I've included it here. The ribcage is sorta boxy, but it has a little curve, and for the hips, it's just kind of an underwear-shaped piece. It's really pretty simple when you break everything up into geometric shapes. Personally, I always start with the head when I'm drawing a person, but I know some people may find it easier to start with another part. Obviously, you'll figure that out as you go along. I faff around with my freaking canvas size so much when I'm doing just plain ass standing poses, it's ridiculous. But you're just gonna make little twigs roughly sized of how big they should be, which as a general rule, the legs are like about the same size or slightly longer than the torso, and for the arms the person should be just able to comfortably cover their groin with their palm. I want to note that this is not an overly stylized piece. Obviously, it's not super realistic, but I'm not pushing a lot of the proportions. It's generally, accurate proportions. It's not a super cartoonish or super exaggerated kind of body type. This is just an average feminine body. And you'll notice all the little bumps and dips, like you can see that this person has hip dips, which almost every AFAB person alive has hip dips, because it's just the way that the flesh goes over their hips. The freaking, pelvis, I think it's the pelvis bone, it has a dip in it where it connects to the leg. There's just a dip there, and you can usually see it. I also gave this person a little bit of a belly because everyone has that if they're not completely emaciated. I also give them quite a few folds around, just small ones, because skin does that. If you have skin, it's going to make folds. And even if you don't have skin necessarily, if you have a lot of scar tissue in one place, it's still gonna fold. And if you want to get a realistic looking character, if you want to get a good looking, realistic looking body, then you're gonna have to draw the folds. You'll notice that even though this is a super basic ass pose, the person mostly still doesn't look stiff. That, I would like to say, is because of what we did with the lines for the shoulders and the hips, the way that they were arching away from each other, as well as having a slightly curved action line. That's what the line down the middle is called. Using those and having them, even in really simple and basic just standing poses, having them be a little bit funky is always going to make your pose more fluid. It's always going to make it more natural. It's always going to make it more relaxed. And unless you're actively drawing like a super rigid character, like a security guard or like a soldier or something, you're not going to want them to look stiff because they're going to look a little bit goofy if they look like they have, like, I don't know, a metal pole shoved up their ass. Feet are an absolute pain to draw and I hate them, which is why it's not detailed. I'm gonna do a separate bit on gestures and other things like that, but feet are basically just wedges, the main part of them anyway, which is the part that I'm doing here, and the size of them varies depending on how tall your character is and what build they have. Yes. Booba. Boobs are not round. Did you know? Well, they are, but they're not perfectly circular. And if you draw them perfectly circular, they are going to look ridiculous. Unless you just have that kind of art style, I guess, where it's super cartoony and pushed, then that's okay. But, also, the torso does not come out from the pectoral area in any kind of body, whether it be masculine or feminine. But as I was saying, they're not really round, more of a teardrop shape, and they are in fact affected by gravity. So depending on what pose your person is in, there's going to be a different kind of like tilt, and they're always going to be closer to a, from the side, always going to be closer to a teardrop shape than an actual circle. And that's really all there is to it. Like, it's quite simple. Once you get the hang of it, you just need to learn how to break things down into shapes and lines, because that's really all it is, shapes and lines. Thanks for hanging out with me, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, consider liking and subscribing, because it's completely free and it helps me out a lot, and I would really appreciate it. Have a nice day or night wherever you are, and hopefully I'll see you next time.